students. Hope so you all are fine and safe. Students, in the previous class we have studied about the modes of communication, that was language and art, how earlier hominids were involved with gestures or hand movements. Later on they spoke, but with a non-verbal communication was there. Then later on speech was developed. Then we studied about the previous class about the art, that what type of painting they were doing at that time and what was the use of that, what historians or the archaeologists they have predicted about their paintings, that it might be that they are transferring their information from one generation to another. It might be that those paintings of animals were associated with rituals and magic. Okay, it should be those paintings should have been shown a successful hunt. So there are actually many assumptions behind that. It might be that it was a meeting point for them. Okay, then what we studied yesterday, we studied about the hunter gatherer societies and two assumptions also, that one group of the scholars, they were with the view that with the we can know about the early hunter gatherer society by knowing the current hunter gatherer societies, because they think that they both are similar. Okay, then another group who says that we cannot do so, because now hunter gatherer societies, they are actually very different from the early hunter gatherer societies, because now the hunter gatherer society, they are engaging themselves into economic activities. Okay, they are engaging themselves, or I have given you example also, like they were doing some work into, or the labor type of work into others field. Okay, then they sorry, then we started about the how the division of labor was there, what was the role of men and women. Students, today we'll study about there is an account that how early, how the hunter gatherer people, they reflect back when the when other people go to their place. Okay, what type of reaction they are having. And then we will study about our source, that is the hadza. Okay, so let's continue. Oh, sorry. Okay, early encounters with hunter and gatherers in Africa. In 1870, with the Kung San, a hunter gatherer society living in Kalahari Desert. See, in 1870, a Kung San, it was a hunter gatherer society which was living in the Kalahari Desert. When one person he went over there, what they saw that. There were very strange footprints were there, and the village was empty. Then they get to find out the reason that why the village was empty, because as soon as they saw the strangers coming, they would have scattered and hide in the bushes. Okay, so what does it shows, that they basically are afraid of the people which are very different to them. Okay, and due to which we can say that it is it is very easy to rule them. And later on in class 11th only, you will study that how these hunter gatherer societies they were ruled. Okay, we'll study later on in other themes. Okay, now we'll talk about the hadza. The Hadza, it is a group of small group of hunters and gatherers, which are basically living in the vicinity of Lake Esai, a salt river, Rift Valley Lake. Okay, the country of Eastern Hadza, dry rock savanna dominated by thorn shrub and areca trees. Okay, over there they are having wild foods. Okay, and they are having animals also, which are very different. If we come in context with the that period, now it is now we are having many animals, but no doubt many of them has extinct also, due to the nature or bad nature actually. Now they were having elephants, rhinoceros, buffalo, giraffe, zebra. Okay, warthog. Warthog is like a if you see the picture, it is like pig only. It is a type of pig. Now, baboon is like a monkey. Okay, then lion, leopard. Okay, so these were the very common animals which they were founding at that time. Okay, and at that time they were hunted also, and obviously if hunting is done, they used to eat them. In fact, elephants were also eaten by the Hadza people. Okay, now the amount of meat that could be regularly eaten without endangering the future of the game is probably greater than anywhere else in the world where hunters and gatherers live or have lived in the recent past. Now, see students, what they were doing. As when you will read this passage, you will found that the Hadza people, they do not have the scarcity of food. Why it was so? Because whenever they found that the environment is not according to them. If the environment is not according to them, means what? Because they are regulated by the nature, and if the nature is not good, means what? They have scarcity of animals over there, and plants also. So as they are hunter and gatherers, they will move to the other place. Okay, so when they are moving to the other place, in that area also they used to scatter, so that the resources, it could not be finished off. Okay, so they used to scatter in a different directions and use the resources like that only. Okay, and it is very strange that being a hunter and a gatherer, they basically ate 20% of meat. Only 20%, rest 80% they are dependent on the vegetables. And due to which, when the time of drought was there, when you can say, when there were no plants or scarcity of plants or berries, scarcity of vegetables, so at that time they used to hunt animals. Understood. But when there was surplus of vegetables and all, at that time they do not used to hunt animals. They used to survive on the vegetable products only. See, now about vegetable food like root, berries, the fruit of baobab tree, etc. Though not often, obviously, to the casual observers, always abundant even at the height of the driest season in a year of drought. The type of vegetable food is available in the 6 month wet season from the dry season, but there is no period of shortage. As I have told you, that they were having there was no shortage. Because why so? Because when there is shortage of because simple, you can just understand that they are dividing the resources so nicely that they do not have the shortage of food. When the vegetables are less, they are actually dependent on the animals. Okay, and when they are having vegetables and the green item or the items from the nature, then they stop eating flesh and all. Okay, they used to preserve those animals for their future food. Okay, now for the sources of water are widely distributed over the country in the wet season, but are very few in the dry season. The Hadza considered that about 5 to 6 kilometers is the maximum distance over which water can reasonably be carried, and camps are normally sited within a kilometer of watercourse. Now, see over here, one thing that they used to make camps, but they were not a permanent one. For example, if just think or imagine that there is a drought type of condition, that the environment has been changed and warm seasons has occurred. So what will happen? They would be having drought. Then what will they do? They'll shift from one place to another. So they used to shift at those places where they found water, because water is the basic necessity of everyone, animals also and humans also. So during that time, it benefited in two ways. Like first, they used to take water for them. Second, animals also come over that place only where water is there, and due to which it was very easy for them to hunt those animals. Okay, now see, these Hadza people, they do not have, you can say they do not assert rights over the land and its resources. Okay, any individual may live wherever he likes and may hunt animals, collect roots, berries, honey, and raw water anywhere in Hadza country without a sort of restrictions. They were not like us, that this is my property or this is yours. They were free, all were free. Whosoever wants to do anything, they can do. Sorry. Then, as I have told you, that these Hadza rely mainly on the wild vegetable matter for their food. Probably they ate 80% of their food by weight is vegetable, while meat and honey together account 20%. And their camps, they were actually very small. They are commonly small and whites dispersed in the wet season, large and concentrated near the few available sources of water. Hope so, students. Up till here, this the Hadza group is clear to you all, and today's lecture also. So, students, today we have studied about how the reaction of the early hunter gatherers. Sorry, not early hunter gatherers. Present time hunter gatherers, when when different type of people. Uh, or the people who are not from their society, if they are going there, they are going at their place, they are actually afraid. Then then we studied about the Hadza. It's a small hunter gatherer group which basically rely on basically rely on wild vegetables, and 20% of meat and honey they used to eat. They do not have any restrictions on property and the resources. They used to build small camps when the environment is not according to them. Okay, and they do not have any shortage of food. So you can see how in a better way they are managing. Okay, by this we can learn from them many things. They are not hurting environment, they are not hurting nature. They are just moving or changing themselves according to the nature. They are not changing nature, and due to which these hunter gatherers, their lifespan is very, as compared to us, they have long lifespan. Okay, student, assignment I have given over here. Write a short note on the property rights of the Hadza group. Then second question, state the reaction of hunter gatherer society people if someone apart from themselves go to their place. Now third, why the Hadza people have abundant of food. Fourth, were restrictions imposed on the Hadza people? If yes, then what type of restrictions? Hope so, students, this topic is clear up till here. Thank you and have a nice day.